everybody, welcome to Emily Kate Made This. I am Emily Kate and I'm coming to you from Berlin in Germany. I can't remember the episode. I feel like it's been forever since we spoke. So yeah, there's a reason for it and I will tell. So usually this is a knitting, sewing podcast, occasional other crafts, but it seems as though the repetitive strain injury is staying around. So I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my last episode, but I was getting a lot of pain in my fingers and then my thumbs, and I'd never had it in my thumbs before. I'm not sure what changed. I don't know if my technique randomly changed, but for the last 3 weeks I haven't really been able to knit, which is why there's not been any episodes. I have tried in the last, maybe in the last 3-4 days, I've tried to start knitting again for about half an hour after doing loads of stretches and then stretching again throughout. But I just did 45 minutes and no, not having it. So it's been a bit stressful. Like, I know in the grand scheme of things, in the state of the world, like not being able to knit isn't the end of the world. But when you do that as your like downtime and your fun, and then your YouTubing, I was gonna say career, but it's not exactly a career, YouTube, and then you don't do any knitting, it kind of makes it difficult. So I did manage at the very beginning, the first like 2 or 3 days of February, to finish something. So I will show you one knitting finished object, and then we're doing something a little different. So seeing as I don't know how long this pain is going to go on for, the content on the channel might change a little bit. I am going to do some sewing and I just started something else, and I will show you that in a little bit. If you want to skip anything, I'm going to put some chapters down so you can skip all this. Well, you can't really skip the blabber now because, you know, you've just gone through all of it. But you can skip around, basically. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit out of sorts. I've been in a really bad mood today, so I thought having a chat with you guys might make me feel better. It's really silly. It's just all these little things that are just bugging me. And again, in the big scheme of things, they don't matter. But, you know, our little lives on this planet still mean something, and the little stresses just... So I actually wanted to talk to you all about my sewing and my dress plans and examples, but the fabric has not arrived. I ordered it the 3rd of February and then they just never contacted me. I contacted them, they didn't respond. I contacted again, then they responded, and it went backwards and forwards where we didn't get anywhere, and eventually it said it's out for delivery, but it isn't. So it's been 3 weeks. I ordered some fabric to make a birthday dress, and my birthday is in March 6th. And I want to have the cutest dress with balloons on, and it's going to be beautiful if the fabric comes. So don't have any fabric, therefore don't have said dress to record. So again, made it difficult to record something, but I'm hoping that what I do have is interesting enough to keep you entertained. So let's get to it. The first finished object is a knitting project that you might recognise. I'll give you a little sneaky peek to bring your memory up. You may recall this was going to be my husband's jumper, and it all went horrendously wrong and I documented it all on my Vlogmas episodes in December. And then it got abandoned and I was trying to change it, do all kinds of things, and eventually I gave up on the jumper idea it is now a skirt. So I'll try and insert my video here because I can't really get the angle with me in it. This room, as per usual, is completely dark. I'm just sitting pressed against my window, hoping that the natural daylight will cast a flattering view across my knitwear. So this is what it looks like, but just don't look too closely. I had to do a lot of decreases to get it into this general skirt shape. But it's fine when it's on. You can't see the weird decreases because this yarn shows up everything. It is the Navia Trio yarn, and I didn't follow a pattern, obviously, because it turned into a skirt after being a jumper. So I just kept decreasing until it was small enough, and then did extra, I think I did about 1 inch or 2 inches maybe, I don't remember, of stockinette, did a purl row, another inch, and folded it over. So then I added some elastic. It's a little bit loose, could probably have done with a bit tighter on the elastic front, but hey go. It works nicely, especially if I tuck a jumper into it, then there's loads of space. So yeah. I'm chuffed with that, which means that there's going to be something that I knitted for my February episode of how I did with my yarn stash busting. Although I technically did most of this in December. I feel like I've been ripping it just frogtacular with this, but it's finally done and wearable, and yeah, I don't hate it. So yay. Then the last thing on the knitting front, I'll just do a sneaky peek because the idea is that I'll do a whole video about it. But seeing as I don't have any other knitting to talk about, I thought I'd show you. So this is my vintage knit, and it's on a smaller needle, so it's all smushed up, but that's okay because I want it to be like a nice video when I have this whole dedicated video to it. So it's just a sneaky peek. It looks a mess. The pattern's actually flat, but after my hand pain started, it really got irritated when I was purling. So I changed this into the round up until there'll be a split for the sleeves, and then I'll knit this moss stitch, so knit purl. So either way I would have to do purling. So for now it's on a circular needle. I think it might be too big, but that's fine. It's better than too small, which is the current situation with the original version. I have talked about that multiple times, but you can have a look through my previous videos if you want to hear more about it. So that's all I'm going to show you. I have done the 2 sleeves, then they were knitted flat, but the body is in the round, and then I will continue working slowly but surely on this beige colour, then it goes to a cream, and then it goes to this, like, what do you even call it, neck décolletage area, and then I'll steam it all together. The goal was that I would finish it in time for my birthday, which didn't seem like a problem at the time I made this decision. But yes, I managed maybe 2 rows a day. I managed 4 today, but yeah, now my hands are really sore. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but I am complaining. I can't pretend I'm not complaining. I really miss knitting. I really miss enjoying knitting and not having to like warm up for half an hour before and then spend the whole time like doing some wrist exercises and hang on. A little bit of a rant story time. So before anybody says you should go to the doctor or you should go to the physio, I have. I am going to a physio, but they're working on my jaw, and I keep asking about my hands and they're not really interested. I have to go and once I've gone through this whole procedure, then I have to go to a different doctor and then get a different prescription to go there for my arms. But she had a quick feel around, and she said she couldn't feel anything wrong with the muscles. So that threw me a little bit, because I was getting a lot of pain here and a lot of pain here and here. And yeah, apparently she can't feel anything. So I then assumed maybe it's nerves. But I'm now just looking for different exercises based on how to look after wrist tendonitis, or I think it's ulna for this side, nerve pain. I know self-prescribing and Googling and everything isn't always good, but when you go to a physio and they're just like, meh. I asked, do you think it's tendons or nerve? And she went, yeah, maybe, who knows? And I thought, well, mate, you you know? But hey ho, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, because it's been better in the last week since I've been doing the stretches. I did stretches before, but now I'm just doing them like a lot. So it's making it a bit better. Okay. Don't want to make the episode too whiny. So let's move on to my next finished object. I'm very excited and very happy about my finished object. It is a weaving project. I've never weaved before. I have always wanted to, but I just kept procrastinating. And in 2020, I'm going with them. A friend of mine gave me this beautiful loom that's behind me here, but it's missing a bunch of parts. It's missing all of the metal that holds it together and all the metal parts that mean you can use it, basically. So I got a little miniature loom. It's like this big, and I used that. I'll insert footage. And I used that to start a project, and this was in 2020, and I started with about 4 rows of weaving, and then I just abandoned it and I left it there. And it's being moved from basket to box to cupboard to drawer. And yeah, once I couldn't use my hands anymore, I was going crazy with not having something to do, to relax. So I wanted to weave, but I just couldn't bring myself to look up how to do it, which is really bizarre, because usually I love researching, but I never get around to doing the thing, or I research for months and then I eventually do the thing. Like with my worms, I researched for weeks and weeks before I bought them. And yeah, various things like knitting, I made sure I wouldn't even do anything until I learned how to do it on the internet. But with the weaving, I just couldn't bring myself to just start from scratch and have to understand new things. So I just started. And it was only at the very end when I looked up one technique on YouTube. But then the rest I just freehanded, and it was very liberating, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I'll give you a little show and tell. Oh, this chair is squeaky. So hopefully ta-da! So this is my childhood home. This is my parents' home. At first I thought, oh no, I shouldn't put my home on the internet. But then I thought, it's an artistic representation of a building out of the entire of England. Nobody's going to know where my family live and go find them. So it's okay. This is what I did in 2020, this little section here. And then after that, I ignored it and abandoned it. And then all of this are just scraps. Is there there? Here. That little jar, I just used what I had in there to make it. And it was really fun. I kind of just guesstimated, so the proportions are a little bit off. Like in real life, that window and that window are bigger, but nobody knows that, so it's okay. And I did go a bit skew-if on the side here because I got a little bit looser with, can you call it tension? Let's go with tension. But also, this is like an Aran weight and that one's a sport weight, so. But I'm really happy. I've never weaved before, so everyone I showed it to knew exactly what it was. That's a good sign. So I'm delighted with myself there, and I want to make some more. And hopefully that is of interest to you, because that could be potentially what is taking over this channel just for a little bit, or interspersed, shall I say, whilst I work on my joints and my muscles and my tendons and blah 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 blah. So this baby over here is a Kirche, Webstuhl, a loom, and it's so beautiful and I really want to use it, but I don't understand the parts that I need, and I've contacted the company, but I think they're quite a small company, and yeah, I'm not getting very far. But hopefully by the time I've like uploaded this, and maybe in a couple of days time, they'll get back to me and say the parts that I need. But in 2020 I contacted them and asked about it, and they said it's really old and it's not, they don't have that kind of model anymore, and it's basically similar to the one that they have now, but all the instructions and everything is in German, and I don't understand German at the best of times, and then technical German isn't any better. And there's such terrible YouTubes on how to put this one together and how to thread it. So I'm a little bit stuck on how to use it. If any of you are weavers, I think it's a rigid heddle loom. I'll try and insert pictures again. Yeah, if you know how to use a very old-fashioned rigid heddle loom and you wish to disperse your knowledge, I will gladly take it. Thank you. What else? I've also been dabbling with the idea of bonding with my, what is it, punch needle again. I'll just grab it. I only have one example of punch needle, but this is it. It's a dinosaur. Again, I think 2020, but it could be 2019 actually. I think it was 2019. I made this. I'm now wondering if it was 2018, but it's really irrelevant what year. But I came across Oxford punch needling and I got really into this idea, and again I really like researched and learnt about it, and then bought the things, and they were really expensive, and I thought it's gonna be worth it. And then I made one project and I couldn't find this monk's cloth anywhere. It seems to be an American thing. So at the time it was €20 per meter, and I thought that was insanely expensive, and I would wait until the hobby became more popular. Since then, the hobby has become more popular, but the fabric cost is now about 45 to 50 euro a meter, which is even more insane. So I don't quite know how to do this hobby when I can't find the fabric. And also, if you look in the UK, which is where I bought the original fabric, it says you need this Oxford punch needle, so 10 regular, and you need this 12 holes per inch fabric. I was like, okay, I can handle that. But then when you look it up on other websites, they do it like threads per inch, which is like 26 something. And then when you look on the German, it's like 7 count or 13 count. And I have absolutely no idea which one I need. So again, if any of you are punch needlers, needle punchers, and you know about monk's cloth or alternatives, that would also be good. Please let me know. I'm on a mission to quench my crafting thirst in between my knitting hiatus. I'm also into sewing, but as I said, I ordered this fabric 3 weeks ago, so for 3 weeks I haven't had any fabric to work with. So yeah, I'm in need of keeping my fingers busy. What else? Oh, I haven't mentioned what I'm wearing. I'll just briefly mention it. It's a vintage pattern. I talked about it several episodes back, and I'll link that episode maybe here and down below so you know what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm wearing. It's not available to buy. It was I was going to say gifted. It was kind of gifted. My mum gave it to me, but it was from a deceased family member's cupboard. Emily, use words. It was given to me and I used it, and I made this nice top, and I used onion knits yarn. This is definitely a waffly, random, all over the place episode, but I really wanted to talk to you guys, and yet I didn't have anything to show you. But hopefully you are understanding of why, and hopefully you'll also be interested in watching some content that isn't just knitting. And if you have any other hobbies, interests, let me know. Try them out. I did think about macrame or macrame, but it's far too much intricate finger work. At the moment I can't get that thumb over to this side of my hand, so the dexterity is a bit limited, so I don't think macrame is going to happen anytime soon. I do have some embroidery that I might tackle, but again you need like intricate work, so yeah. I'm going to end this here because it's kind of getting too rambly and I don't want to complain too much, but alas, not everything is peachy, and what are you gonna do? So thank you for getting this far and watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week. So thanks for watching. Bye.